Okay, so in the last class we have studied the RNNs. Okay, so we have seen that in the RNNs we have a feedback loop, and okay, recurrent neural networks. Here we have a feedback loop that basically stores the historical information that is coming from the previous activation as well as at every time step that data is coming, and it is storing, it's processing that information as well. So it's storing. So it's storing two types of informations. Okay, so this is how we train a network, that is a recurrent neural network. And we have seen that we back propagate from the topmost right and we go towards left, and this is called back propagation through time over here. Okay, gradients are updated after the network has learnt the data. Okay, so this is how we also represent with a feedback loop. Simply, there are multiple examples also. So okay, so let's see sequence to sequence. So in these examples, one to many, many to one, many to many, and many to many. So there can be multiple types of neural networks. So encoder decoder is a club of many to one and one to many. So in encoder we have many inputs and one output, and in decoder we have one output and multiple one input and multiple outputs. So this is the decoder part, this is the encoder part. Now why this is like this? So suppose we have a sentence that is English sentence we have. Okay, and we want to translate it into French. So French may have different number of words and English sentence may have different number of words. So if we train encoder network, which is a many to one, so we have many features, we train it with a recurrent neural network or encoder, and we get one output. So we don't use the rest of the outputs, we only use this one output. And this output consists of features from all these words. Okay, important feature representation from all these words. Okay, and we use this feature extracted from the whole English sentence. We use this feature and we decode it into many to one. So over here we are using this one feature set. Basically this is a matrix, and using this we give it as in a decoder, which is a one to many recurrent neural network. So this is the basic architecture of encoder decoder. Okay, so this is also another type of a sequence to sequence model, sequential model. Now today we are going to have a look at gated recurrent units, GRUs. Okay, so let us move ahead. This is language modeling. We have seen in the last class that this was the first sentence. It outputs the probability of occurring of a next sentence. So probability of occurring next word, that is George, given the token start. There are two tokens, starting and end, and somewhere there is only ending token if you have only one sentence. Okay, so starting, so given that George, given the start, next word is George, what is the probability? So probability of this is given, probability of X hates given SN George over here. So this outputs again. Then for next, for broccoli, so it will output the probability of broccoli given previous three words were these. So over here, so what are the chances? So this is language modeling we have seen in the last class. Okay, okay, so let's start with, we are going to discuss with vanishing and exploding gradient problem today, and we are going to discuss with the GRUs. So in next class we'll move on with the LSTMs. Okay, so what is a vanishing gradient problem and what is a exploding gradient problem? So in whatever architecture we have for RNNs. In a simple, suppose we have a simple neural network, a neural uh, neural network architecture, which is having multiple nodes, multiple layers. Now, if we move from left to right in a neural network, this means that we are multiplying the weights with if you are moving from left to right, you are basically multiplying it with some value. Okay, you are multiplying your output, predicted y, that is activation, with a certain output, that is, suppose let's say you were having a neural network, simple two layer neural network. Not this one, like this. So activation for this depends upon activation of this into this. Activation for this node, let's say N3, depends upon activation of this previous node as well as the activation of this node. So it is a multiplication of activations of, let's say, A1 and A2, right? And for if I am training another deeper network, so multiplication for this N4 depends upon A1, A3 and this N3. A1, A2 over here. A1, A2, A3. So if you are multiplying so much, so this is suppose 0.1, this was suppose 0.1 and this was suppose 0.1. So if you multiply these three, you will get 0.0.001, right? So this is very small value, and if it is a very deeper network, it will be 10 to the power minus 10, which is a very, very small value. So this happens, so activation is actually reduced to 10 to the power minus 10, which is a very small value. This is in the forward propagation. Similarly, similar thing happens when we are back propagating. We are propagating like this. We are multiplying the gradients, and gradient is having some value in the fractional value. If it was having 1 by 2 value, so if you are multiplying it 10 times, so it's a very small value. It's 10 layer is a just not that deeper network, and in that also you have 1 by 2 to the power 10, which is a very small value. So this is called gradient vanishing. So gradient is reduced to very small value. This is called vanishing gradient problem. Okay, similarly we have exploding gradient problem, where okay, so we have exploding gradient problem where suppose this value was 1.1, and if you multiply it with 1.1, you will get something larger, so it would be 121, right? 1.21, right? I'm not sure. Okay, and then you multiply it with some value, you multiply it with some value, you multiply, and so on. So up till suppose you are multiplying it 10 times, so it converts to very large number, which is, let's say, suppose it was very large number and it was not able to store in your memory. Okay, so it overflows, your memory overflows, because you are not expecting such larger values in the gradients, so you are expecting very small values in the not that small, but yes, around 1. So, okay, so if you are multiplying it with the 1.1 and 1.1 so many times, so this is called exploding gradient. Exploding gradient means you are multiplying it value slightly larger than 1, and multiple times you are multiplying, and in the end it overflows, so that a network stops. It does not is it's not able to train, because it says that it's a not a number. So it's, suppose you have 2 bits for this suppose you have 2 bits and your calculation is coming in 3 bits, so this is overflow, so it will not be trained. So this is called a exploding gradient problem. So these two problems are generally encountered in any deep learning model when we are training deep learning sequential model, which is having multiple layers. Okay, so in sequential models, also in recurrent neural networks, this vanishing gradient problem is very much prevalent. So this happens in recurrent neural networks very much. So to solve this, LSTMs and GRUs were you know uh, proposed later on, and there are many other variants of RNN that were proposed to solve these problems. So vanishing gradient is basically solved by this LSTM and GRU, while exploding gradient is solved by gradient clipping and skip connections. So we'll see why this is. So I hope this part is clear. So vanishing gradient is basically gradient reduced to very small values so that activations become insignificant, and it is not able to learn that word, that text, or that input information. It's not able to learn because activation was very small. Okay, so this is vanishing gradient, and exploding gradient is when this values is slightly larger, and you are multiplying it so many times that it overflows, and it's not able to learn your network. So in case of vanishing gradient, we apply gates, that is GRUs and LSTMs, and in case of exploding gradient problem, we do skip connections and gradients clipping. So what is gradient clipping and what is skip connections? Let's see. So first of all, this is showing a vanishing gradient. So what happens is, so if you are calculating, what we want to do is we want to calculate the gradient of the loss over here with respect to the input parameters, right? We always want to do that. So which is, this is fourth and this is first. So this fourth with respect to 1 we want to calculate. So applying chain rule over here. So basically this is, if you cancel it out, this is 1 by 4 again. Over here, if this part will cancel out, this part will cancel out. So over here you can calculate this with respect to this, change in 3 layer with respect to 2, change in 2 layer with respect to 1. Over here you can calculate change in 4 with respect to 3. This we have seen already, that we cancel out this part and we calculate this change in fourth with respect to 1 by multiplying the gradients of all the layers, right? So while propagating, we are multiplying the gradients of outer layer with the previous layer, third layer with the second layer with the first layer. Then we will get the gradient of output layer with the input layer. Okay, so this is chain rule. We have seen this. So what happens if these values, these gradients are very small? So vanishing gradients happens when these values are very small, and it converts to very 0.0001, which is very insignificant. Okay, so this is vanishing gradient. Okay, so what happens if this value is very small? What happens if gradient over here is 0.0001? If I'm giving some word like cat, and I'm giving cat eats rats. Okay, so this, if I'm giving 0.001 over here, so this cat becomes insignificant. So it will not learn much of its feature, much of whatever input is in this layer. Okay, so this is the problem. Okay, again, suppose there is a very last sentence, we'll see it will only count the nearby words. Okay, we'll see. Okay, so what happens is gradient can be viewed as a measure of effect of the past on the future. Yes, so gradient is basically how in a sentence my word affects the another word, right? But what happens if gradient vanishes? What happens is there is no dependency between this word and this word. So cat and rat over here are becomes dependency between words which are at some distance from each other. It is lost. Dependency is lost because the gradient is so small that activation is not storing the information that is coming from previous previous values, previous nodes, previous layers. So dependency between t plus n and tth layer is lost. Okay, first thing. And second thing is we have wrong parameters to capture the true dependency between t and t plus n. So suppose a cat, so we are discussing about this sentence is about cat. So dependency, so if this word is this values reduced to 0.0001, this means that cat is insignificant. Although we are talking about cat in this whole sentence, we are talking about cat. So if we have next sentence in the text, so it's most probably it's about cat, because cat is the subject over here, right? So but it is its significance is reduced due to this vanishing gradient problem. Okay, so these are the problems associated with the vanishing gradient. For example, they have given a text. So when she tried to print her tickets, she found that printer was out of toner. Now she is talking about tickets, that she found that a printer was out of toner because she wanted to print the ticket. She went to stationery store to buy more toner. It was overpriced. Now she went to stationery store to buy more toner. Why she went? Because she wanted to print the ticket. Okay, so ticket is important thing in this sentence. So after installing the toner into the printer, she finally printed her what? Now she finally printed her ticket over her. But ticket, this word is very uh, much previous than so there are so many words in between this whole sentence, right, over here and over here. So if vanishing gradient occurs, because generally it will occur, so if you have a deeper network, in that case, so significance of tickets is lost when a model is trained up till here. Okay, so this is the problem of vanishing gradient. Next is another example is what it do is syntactic and sequential recency. What this is, suppose this is a sentence, the writer of the books. Now next word should be is or are. Now, if vanishing gradient is there, so its significance is 0.0001 and its significance is 0.01. So it will consider it more significant. So if books is a plural, so it will say, okay, are would be the next word. Although, because this sentence is talking about the writer, not about the books, it should be is. So what happens is neural networks base recurrent neural network, what it does is it considers the nearest dependency. It gives the nearest words more value than the words which are at a much farther distance. Okay, although it should be are, it should be is, because writer of the books is, and we are talking about writer, not about books, but it is unable to distinguish between these two because it is giving more weightage to books rather than to writer. Okay, I hope this problem is clear. So it gives the nearby words more weightage rather than the word which is at a far uh, distance. Okay, so this is the problem with the recurrent neural network. So to solve this problem, this is called vanishing gradients. So to solve this, various recurrent sequential models were proposed. So many sequential models were proposed, and GRUs and LSTMs are one of the most popular recurrent neural networks. Okay, to solve these. Next is exploding gradient. Exploding is when we are giving 1.1, we are multiplying it so many times. Okay, so when we are multiplying it so many times, it reaches to a value which is very high, and which is not, which becomes a not a number, and the gradient overflow problem occurs. So this is exploding gradient problem. So to solve this, what we do is we can reduce this value. What they do is they change it to 1. They rescale these values. Instead of writing 1.1, they rescale it to 1 or 1 or some other nearby value, so that they basically reduce these values. So this is called gradient clipping. uh, so let us see how. So this is gradient clipping. So in gradient clipping, what happens is they are basically reducing. So this was a gradient. So at whenever gradient reaches to a high value, which is above threshold can be, let's say, 1. So threshold is 1. So if my gradient reaches to greater than 1 or greater than 1, I will clip it. I will reduce its value and reduce that value by dividing it to some value and multiplying it. So it is basically changing the scale of this gradient. Okay, so this is gradient clipping. Another solution is skip connections. Skip connections is basically the we are reducing some connections, just like we have done in the dropout. So we are reducing some connections so that it's able to multiply. So if earlier it was multiplying 1.1 10 times, let's say 100 times, so now it will multiply 1.1 to 50 times. Okay, so this would be smaller. So this is called skip connections. So these are the two methods to solve exploding gradient. So in general scenarios, it is exploding gradient is easier to solve because we can clip the gradients, we can drop out, skip some connections. Okay, so this is simpler to solve, while vanishing is difficult to solve. And vanishing gradient, for vanishing gradients, GRUs and RNNs, GRUs and LSTMs work, but they are not, foolproof solutions. Sometimes they are not. Sometimes they also suffer. It's a basically a partial solution, not a full solution. So vanishing gradient is a much more bigger problem than a exploding gradient problem. Okay. Uh, so how to fix this vanishing gradient? So we are going to see today how we are, first of all, we are going to see what is a gated GRUs, what are they? So we are going to understand their architecture, and then we are going to work with the LSTM. So LSTMs is almost similar to GRUs. There is only additional few calculations that are there, but it's almost the same. Okay, so this is the RNNs. This is a simple RNN that we have. Simple RNN hidden layer calculation. It takes weights from the previous activations as well as current input. Two things it takes as input. So what is the architecture of a simple RNN? It basically looks like, so we have RNN cell. We give input some term, first term, let's say xt, and we also give input previous activation. So a t minus 1 we give as input, and what do we get? We apply the tan h over here, tan h or any other activation function, any activation. So weights are associated with this, weights are associated with this, and plus we have biases. Okay, so we apply tan h to this activation over here, and what do we get as output? We get a activation for the next layer, that is AT. This is a simple RNN architecture, and also we can apply a softmax over here if we want to get this output. If we don't want to get this output, then it's fine. So we don't use this part. For example, in many to one, we don't use this part because we don't want output at every term. We don't want it. So this is a simple RNN. Okay. Now, what about we give a separate memory to store the historical value. Suppose there was a very large sentence which was discussing about cat, and cat was doing this and this and this, and uh, she was, in the last we say that she was ill. uh, uh, she was, just wait a second, just wait a second, I'll be back. Okay, so I was saying that we had a so we discussed that we take two inputs, that is current input and previous activation. Two things are there. Now what if in a longer sentence, suppose we have a longer sentence like I was saying cat does something something something, and she was, let's say, ill, or she was of black color. Okay, now another was cats doing something, and they were ill. Okay, so this she and they. So this depends upon cat or cats. So singular, if it is a singular, it would be was, and if it's plural, it would be were. Okay, so what if I store this information in a cell? I store that yes, this cat word is important, and I would be requiring it in future. So to decide whether it was or it was were. Okay, so this is what is the concept of a GRU. Okay, in GRU, a memory cell is basically there. And what is a memory cell? It's nothing but we are just storing the activation of this cat. We are just storing the activation of cat, and we are using it later on when we want to predict this. We want to model this was or were. Okay. So these are the equations for the gated recurrent units. Now what is extra over here is activation is the same, that is coming from the previous node. Okay, I will draw it in a notepad over here. So first thing that we have in this is we have xt. Okay, which is input for the tanh. This is very small box. So we have this this is one layer of a recurrent neural network, or gated. We are talking about GRUs, gated recurrent units. So this is first input that we have, so which is xt. Okay, we have a tanh. That is a maybe a activation function, or you can use ReLU also. Then we have input, that is a activation from previous node. So what is this? This is basically CT. This is equals to CT minus 1, that is coming from the previous node. So we are storing it, this previous activation, in a cell called CT minus 1. So this is equals to CT minus 1. Either you can say AT minus 1 or CT minus 1. This is cell memory, and we are giving this also as an input. So this part we know already in the RNN, this happens. Now additional thing is, using this xt, we create a sigmoid. Sigmoid range of the sigmoid is 0 to 1. We know this. It's something like this. So range is 0 to 1. So that is why we use sigmoid. Sigmoid is basically a gate which decides that whether it's if sigmoid or this gate is 0, and if this gate is 1. So if gate is 0, this means that don't update the previous memory and store whatever you have. And if this is 1, then update it. So update means this, you have to cell state, you have to update. So there is additional memory called cell, and it is storing some value, and this gate decides whether this memory will be updated or not. So if 0, this means no updation, and if this is 1, this means updation. So if this sigmoid function returns 0, this means this cell will remain same, whatever it is having. It was having 0.5, so it will be having 0.5. But if this gate value is 1, so this cell is updated to some new calculations, and those calculations are done using this activation. So this activation, whatever the activation is coming, so let's see what so we have some equation over here, equation 4. I will write it down what that equation is. So so this input and the gate. So instead of this was basically activation from previous as well as current input. So this as well as this gate, this completely decides the output for the next activation. This was AT, and over here, if you want to apply softmax and output over here. Okay, I hope this architecture is clear. So this gate is addition, which decides this sigmoid which decides whether this tan H activation will be stored in the cell or not, in the cell state or not. Okay. So now what the equation is, so what equation is to calculate the final output, final CT, that is cell state. The value of cell is outputted from this, this equation over here. So what is that equation? So this equation, I will write it over here. This equation basically decides. Okay, so first is this candidate. I will write it over here. So first is C t minus 1, which is coming from previous. If I talk for this cell, so first thing that I have is a cell state. So current cell state was actually the previous activation that we had. Second thing that we have is we have candidate. This is candidate. Candidate means I will update candidate cell state. I will update if my gate, this is gate, this is the gate or gamma. Gamma is a Greek letter or a gate. So if my this candidate cell is basically this equation will be executed when my gate is 1. When my gate is gate value returns 1. So this equation is basically sigmoid of whatever W some weights C t minus 1 and xt. There are only two things, ct minus 1 and xt as input and plus bias. Okay, u is because we are updating. So this gate, if this gate returns 0, so this will be updated. If gate returns 1, if this is 0, it will not be updated with the c will not be updated with the c candidate if it is 0. If it is 1, so it will be updated with the c candidate. And how this c candidate is calculated? C candidate is basically nothing but the output from here. So this output is basically updated or not, decided by this gate. Okay. So tan H, this is the same equation that we have seen in previous CT minus 1 and XT. Okay. This is the same equation of RNNs, because we are calculating the cell state or activation similarly. So this is also cell state, this is also activation. So this is updated only when this value is 0 or 1. I hope this is clear. Fourth equation is final cell state. What is the final output? So final output depends upon whether my weight was updated or not, whether my this cell state was this candidate was replaced or not. So fourth equation is basically this one over here, which is executed at this place, equation 4, this one. So it says if it's updated, if gate value is 0. So if gate value, that is gate equal to 0. If this was 0, so this would be new cell state that was the same as the previous cell state. And if it was 1, this would be the updated cell state. Okay, this is I hope this is clear from this equation, that if we put this value, gate value, to 0, it will be this portion would be reduced, and vice versa. Okay. So this is the overall output. So now my activation for the next layer is this CT. So whatever I am getting output over here, this would be my activation for the next layer over here. This is the output, and if I want to apply softmax, I can apply softmax over here and I will get output. So this is the gated recurrent unit. So only one thing that is addition is gate, which decides whether the cell state is updated or not. Okay. So this is the RU. We'll discuss LSTM tomorrow. Okay. If you have any questions, you can ask. I know it's a little bit confusing as well. No questions? It was clear. Okay, so I'm sharing the quiz on the LMS. You all can see it, I hope. In class quiz on 27th October. So time for the quiz, and it will not take too much time. It's very fast. I will close it after 10 minutes. You have 10 minutes to do that. Okay.